Hello everyone, welcome to Doom Productions. We make feature films and videos about filmmaking. Today, as you've seen in the title, we're covering film festivals, and you probably know about these a lot from like the stories of like famous filmmakers like Christopher Nolan or Quentin Tarantino, who got their start from successful outings at film festivals and stuff like that. Which is great. So that was around like 90s and stuff like that. And we ourselves as Doom Productions have had some experience with film festivals as well. Particularly you guys.
Yeah. We've done the circuit once or twice.
couple times.
Yeah.
It's a big kind of part of filmmaking is film festivals and distribution. How do you get your movie seen by people? Yeah. Zach, have you gotten a movie played in a festival before?
No, I haven't.
Noob. No, I'm joking. No. So, but not yet. Not
Not
necessarily.
Yeah.
I think you're in film school now.
Mm-hmm.
What did they tell you about film festivals in film school? I'm curious, because it's been a few years since I've been in school.
Mm-hmm. Well, the interesting thing was we kind of went over like different eras of like, I guess, making of films and stuff like that, and that was kind of the last one that really had like a definitive like definition of like, okay, here's how they went from like starting making the movie to like showing it in the film festival, getting someone who's like, yeah, I want to distribute this and stuff like that, and then having their movie shown in theaters and things like that, or on a streaming service nowadays or whatever.
Right.
But nowadays it's kind of, things have broadened out so much. There's so many different options, and that was kind of like the last kind of defined era, like the film festival era.
Right.
And then nowadays my professors were kind of like, well, type of thing.
Yeah, the Wild West a little bit.
Yeah.
With film festivals.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of, I mean, I think part of why we want to do this video is because I don't think we've ever really talked about film festivals other than don't submit. But, like, that's not from a place of ignorance, that's from a place of experience. And also, we were just being hyperbolic to an extent back then. But, like, I think overall, for us, where we are, I mean, and for a lot of people, film festivals don't really make a lot of sense.
Especially coming out of COVID.
Right.
That really changed the scape, like the landscape of the film distribution community, and like what you do, the pathways you go through. It shifted completely during that time.
Because prior to then, we were like, we just want to see our movie on the big screen with a lot of people. And when COVID hit, there were still film festivals going on, but it was like, why are we spending all this money for people to watch our movies online?
Yeah.
When we could just put it out for free on YouTube and have just as many, if not more, people see your stuff.
Exactly.
Which, since we made the decision, between all our movies, I mean, Bell Rings has
like 1.1 thousand.
1,000. October, oh brother, they probably have around that.
Wild Boys has 7,000.
Wild Boys has, I mean,
counting.
It's safe to say there thousands of people have watched our movies, which is way more than the amount of people who saw our movies before we kind of stopped submitting to festivals.
Yeah.
Which is, that's a point for YouTube. I think a lot of times people think, oh, I just need to get my movie seen by the right people or certain people. And that's not always necessarily true. I mean, because no one was really watching our stuff at film festivals. I mean, people were, but not as many. And that's what we wanted, was a bigger audience.
Yeah, it was more of a, hey, we're at a film festival, there's a film. Great.
Yeah.
But with like YouTube and stuff, you have like keyword searches and stuff like that will come up with things.
And a community
like
kind of snowballed around us that we never had. I think a lot of our relationships at film festivals started and ended with a compliment or oh, great job on your movie, and it ended there. But with the YouTube space, it kind of shifted. But going back to kind of Film Fest, let's talk a bit more about, I guess, let's get a bit more in depth about our feelings. The truth about our feelings.
About film festivals.
Yeah.
I made a list, you guys. I was a little bit over
okay.
Because I have a lot of ideas about this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bounce these ideas off of you. Let me. I want to say these things, and you guys just react. Okay.
Okay.
These are things about film festivals. These are like things I've learned throughout the years of talking with programmers, people who submit, and all that kind of stuff. So the first one is not an anti-film festival. This is like very like take this list from the perspective, I want to submit to a festival. I think this is what I want to do. What should I know about film festivals? Like before submitting and all that stuff. So here's the first kind of truth. Just because your film wasn't selected doesn't mean it wasn't good.
True.
Yeah.
100%.
True. Why?
I mean, there's a whole lot of reasons why a movie might not be selected for a film festival. It could just be quantity. There are film festivals out there, like talking things like Slam Dance, Sundance. I mean, there are countless ones where submissions is just high. There's only so
Thousands
many slots you can
yeah.
put in. They're only going to select so many movies. So your movie being not selected just on that alone doesn't mean it's good. And you don't know necessarily always the reasons for it.
Which you can do. Which if your film is not selected and they don't tell you a reason, you can always email the programmers or whoever and say, "Hey, I would love some feedback on my movie."
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll give it to you. Sometimes they're just too busy to be able to do that. But that's something you can do as well.
Yeah.
It also could be because of length. If you have a good 27-minute movie, but someone else has an amazing and incredible 5-minute movie, they're more likely going to program the 5-minute movie just because of how programming works in the screening blocks.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of different reasons why, you know, your movie's like genre is another one. If you submit a horror movie to a festival that primarily plays dramas,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that'd be kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
So they're not going to program it. Doesn't
Or
mean it's
vice
not-
versa.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's not a great movie. It just means maybe it wasn't right for the festival.
Yeah.
Well, and also the selection process is performed by a certain group of people, and people, as we all know, have subjective opinions.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, we all have differing opinions on different movies, and the same goes for people who select film festivals. So sometimes, if your movie isn't selected, that just means that just those people that looked at it didn't like it. That doesn't mean that everybody hates it.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer to me, but I felt like it needed to be said.
Exactly. Rejection
Yeah.
is part of the filmmaking
Yeah.
game to an extent.
Yeah.
Another kind of truth about film festivals is now you kind of touched on this a little bit in what your professor is saying, but there are a ton of scam festivals out there.
Oh, yeah.
Because anybody can start a film festival. I would really highly, highly, highly recommend that people research what festival they're submitting to before they submit. Because, you know, there's some festivals that look flashy, look nice, and they have a nice name or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's like a couple of people in a middle of nowhere town, and they're just posting their movies online, and they don't even care about exhibition. They just want your money.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of scam festivals out there. So be aware and do some research. Fortunately, we've never been scammed.
Yeah. Luckily, Portland has a pretty established film community as well, and there's a lot of established festivals in our area, so it makes it easy for us to kind of know what's available. So it is just research what's around you, and then also if you're going outside of what's around you, just know what you're submitting to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's another thing about film festivals. If you're at a film festival, try to network as much as you can. I know we've had difficulties with that.
Yeah.
However, it can be a good way to meet people. If you're a social butterfly.
Yeah.
We're not necessarily social butterflies, so...
Well, and what's great about if your movie plays, a lot of times people have come up to us when we aren't approaching them to talk to us about our movie, which is great because we're not outgoing in that
Right.
way. Like, we're not, like, super amazing at networking.
Yeah.
We can do it. We have done it in the past, like, where we try to network with people intentionally, but it's just not our strong suit. So being at a place where we know people potentially could come up to us and want to talk to us about our movie, that's just a nice thing. But also, we've gotten to know programmers and people who work within the film festivals we're submitting to, and that's also a great way to build community and get to know those people. And that also could maybe help your chances of getting into a film festival down the
Exactly.
line.
If you're friends
Yeah.
with the programmer, I mean, I'm not saying that always happens, but...
Yeah.
I'm not saying bribery. I'm
It's
just
a
saying
social
friendship.
business.
It's a social
You're
business.
It is.
interacting with other people. That's the way it works.
I think another aspect of too is like when you're at these things, you don't network this way. You don't network vertically. You network horizontally.
Yeah.
That's how networking works. That's the truth about networking. So when we say networking, it's really like just become friends with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to the social hours after.
Right.
Those
yeah.
are always fun. That's where you know the fun conversations happen. You get to know people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another idea about film festivals. Awards, you know, film festivals give awards. These
Yeah.
awards, while they can be fun, don't mean anything. What are your thoughts on this?
That really depends. Because I do
Yeah.
think there is credibility that can be perceived when you have those laurels on your trailer. When you put together a trailer and it's like, got awards from this festival, this
Right.
festival, this festival. That does mean something. That does
Right.
that does impact me at a level of like, oh, this is cool. This movie's notable. Is that a be all end all for a movie though?
Right.
No. Zach, do you have? Yeah.
I would say it can help in regards to people noticing your work, or making it stand out. If in that particular sense, if you have, you know, the laurels, the logo, the stuff like that. But ultimately, I would say, like for example, in the trailer space, I would say, hopefully, if you're playing a trailer and you have film festival logos, or you don't have film festival logos, hopefully the most notable thing about what they're seeing is your work, not the logos and stuff like that.
Laurels make movies way marketable. I'll say
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Laurels make movies very marketable, and they will help you. However, the award itself, you know, just because you have an award doesn't mean that you're now a perfect filmmaker and you need to stop trying as hard
Yeah.
or like that you're flawless. But it also means if you didn't win an award, don't beat yourself up over it because it's subjective. Again, it's the same thing. You know, you could be at a film festival and see a bunch of great movies, and one that you really connect to could like lose an award or not be nominated whatsoever, but a one that you didn't connect to could get like all the awards.
Yeah.
And like, what does that even mean?
And at the end of the day, getting an award at a festival doesn't mean you have you've hit success and
Right.
it's going to change your life. Either
We've gotten awards at
we've gotten
festivals,
awards, and we worked just as hard the next day working on our next movie.
and it also didn't.
Yeah.
Nothing came from those awards too.
Yeah.
Like those awards literally meant nothing.
It was fun.
Sure, it's pretty.
It's awesome.
We have the laurels.
It's an honor to get it, but
The laurels are nice to market our stuff,
Yeah.
but beyond that, they didn't help our careers in any way. So it's like, at the end of the day, don't beat yourself up if you didn't win an award or anything.
Yeah.
Or yeah. Another idea. Festivals. I mean, I think this is really a closing point, and what we as Doom Productions kind of believe is festivals are not the only way to make it as a filmmaker, which is something that we thought how it was for a long time, and then we learned that that wasn't the case. Festivals are not the end, the end goal necessarily.
no, they are an option on the path
Right.
of being a filmmaker to whatever goals you have. Your goals might not be at all to enter into film festivals. You might want to make movies with your friends for the sake of making movies with your friends. Then you don't need to submit to film festivals.
Right.
You might want to make feature films, but you don't want to submit them to film festivals either. You might want to put them online, like we've been doing for the last couple of years. Film festivals hasn't really been on our radar much. Will that change in the future? Probably.
We'll see. Yeah.
We'll see. We don't know. We kind of are kind of impromptu with our planning.
I'm
anyway,
biased, but I will say I think the Bell Rings could have played great at a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
festivals.
It probably could. And I've actually looked up festivals. I've been like in the background looking at some ones that I could submit to still. So who knows? Bell Rings could have a film festival run in the future here. We'll
Yeah.
see. But
Well,
yeah.
and another note that I'd like to include is I would encourage people to not set out when they're making a movie like, okay, I'm going to make this movie to play at a festival. I would encourage you, like with things like the Bell Rings or whatever, is if your work really stands out to you in a way that you're like, oh, this could be really cool, I could do that, kind of afterwards, then it's just like, okay, let's try it out. But don't let that be like your driving force, because then if you get selected, or if you don't get selected, or if you get selected and you don't win anything, then it might feel to you as if that thing that's been driving your progress the whole time didn't lead to anything,
Right.
which isn't true. But I'd encourage it to not be your main driving force. encourage the driving force to be your creativity and your passion to create something that you want to create.
Right, great point. YouTube is a great way to distribute. So is Film Hub. So is, just showing your work to a lot of people. Or maybe you want to just rent out a theater in your hometown and play your movie that way.
Or in your friend's hometown.
Your friend's hometown. Or maybe you want to drive to Yakima, Washington, or fly there and show your movie to people.
Yeah.
But yeah, is that about it for us today?
I think so. Yeah. Film fests.
Yeah.
Let us know your experiences too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't love them. We don't hate them.
They are what they are.
Yeah.
They exist.
If you're a fan of this video, please show your support by liking and subscribing. It doesn't take a lot of your time, but it means a whole lot to us. We got some cool stuff coming in the future, cool movies, cool videos, so you want to stay tuned for that. So until the next time, see you later.